You are listening to the BlahCade Pinball Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Freebus. Not joining me because of the insane early time in the morning it would be for him is Jared Morgan. But that is because we are once again being visited by Mel Kirk, Vice President of Publishing for Zen Studios. Welcome back, Mel.
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me. Good to be here again.
Absolutely. So you are here today to discuss some goings-ons with the Williams Collection Volume 2. But before we even dive into that, we need to talk about Volume 1 a little bit. When last we talked to you, obviously this was a big mystery how this was going to be received, what you guys could expect in terms of sales and just general reception. How has that been now that you've had a month of it being out?
Yeah, it's been extremely positive. We're very happy with the overall reaction. We see the writing on the wall that people like what we've done for the most part. There's no reason to say like we're not going to be working on this for a very long time. I mean, it's been incredible. I think we brought in a whole new segment in the Pinball FX, a whole new player base, people who just didn't play with us previously. So it's been really, really great to invite them in. At the same time, our existing player base, we're like, we announced and then released the games, and they were like, "What are these? These are very different from what you had before." But hey, this is really cool. So I think we did all the right things, and there's still more things for us to tweak and whatnot. But everything's really good, and really, really positive.
I think that was actually my biggest surprise. Was I never realized that there was this separation between Pinball Arcade players and FX3 or FX2 basically would be the assumption there, players. But I didn't realize there was this giant divide between them. And when the game released, reading people's reactions, all of a sudden it was from the people that were exclusively FX Pinball FX players. It was just kind of like oh hey, this is better than I expected. Okay, this is cool. I'm like, what do you mean you were better than expected? These are classic tables. and then from the Pinball Arcade faction, you could tell that they hadn't touched Pinball FX since Pinball FX 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that all their biases towards, oh, I don't like fantasy tables, or oh, I don't like the Zen physics. All of a sudden it was like, oh, hey, look at that. These physics are wonderful. And I'm actually playing with all the fantasy overlay on these Williams tables rather than playing them the vanilla version. That this is kind of cool. It's made me check out some of their other tables.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was just like, wow, you mean there really was this separation? So yeah, it's fantastic that you're bridging that gap.
Yeah, and this is something that I think that we've known and sensed for a long time, is that people who are playing our games didn't grow up playing pinball. They didn't grow up in arcades or with machines. They never even touched one before. And so their version of pinball and their experience truly is what Zen has given them on consoles and mobile devices. That's where they played these games. That's where they got their first touch of pinball. Whereas we knew this whole other crowd, really that's what they just want to play the stuff that they grew up with or that they're nostalgic about. And yeah, I think that we did the right things to make both player groups happy. And I think the cool thing also for the people who are new to Zen or haven't touched it since FX2, I think you see that FX3 gives you a lot to do with your tables. It's not just sit down and play the game, but you got a lot of choices and a lot of options. And so I think that was a pleasant surprise for people. And there's more coming in that regard. So I think we're off on a good start. It was really interesting. I don't know. We released this. We've been doing these like little pinball story videos showing the Budapest Pinball Museum, and then I think this week, it might have just been yesterday, actually, we released about Pacific Pinball Museum in Alameda, California. And the director of the museum, DRC, who's become a good friend, she was talking about the type of people now that are coming into the arcade, kids and families and people who never played pinball, and that's like a main part of their business now. So I do think that we're seeing a whole new generation of player. Zen is uniquely positioned to introduce these classic tables to these people who have been with us now for a while and have a younger audience.
Yeah, I have heard a few people where they're like, wow, I'm really surprised by the user interface in FX3. It's so smooth, it's so easy, and open them up to, especially with the tournaments, the create your own tournament mode, where it's just like, yeah, this is a blast, and being able to dive in and just play with other people. And that's such a critical component to pinball, is being able to play against other people.
Yeah. I still think we're just scratching the surface on that. We have a lot of plans on the multiplayer aspect for FX3 tournament play, in-game events. These are what we call the game as a service element of the game, which FX3 is probably one of the original games as a services, ever since the early days. So really looking forward to doing more there. And we'll be talking about that later on.
Has there been any surprises to you guys at Zen with the release of the Williams pack that you didn't quite expect, to reaction-wise, or just, sales-wise, anything? I mean, was there anything that just kind of like grabbed you?
Not so much. I mean, actually, we've done really well on Steam. Previously, we'd been a little weak on PC, just overall, like Pinball FX3 presence, but that actually was, we got quite a response there. It's clear that a lot of people playing on PinCabs, probably more people than we expected, are playing on PinCab now, for all their pinball PC stuff. So it kind of emphasized more the need for us to work probably faster on the arcade features and getting the game the way we want it to run there. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. We thought about it for a long time from a lot of different angles. I think we were pretty well prepared. The censorship thing, or whatever you want to call it, we knew that would be a topic of discussion. Maybe that got a little bigger than we thought. We didn't expect to show up in the front of Ars Technica. But that was cool. I got to talk to Kyle Orland, who I hadn't spoken to in a long time, and we had a great discussion. I'm sure you guys read that.
Yes.
But yeah, I think for the most part, that's probably what maybe was not expected from us.
Yeah, I mean, we even devoted an entire podcast to that whole issue. It was one of those things where, and this is kind of we understand our fan base, which is they go, ooh, new, shiny, they get all excited about that, and then they revert. And it's okay, what can we complain about now? And so that was kind of one of those things where it was like, oh, here we go. But I think that even kind of blew up larger than I expected it to be. And I know you're going to address some of that coming up here. Unless, shoot, do you want to dive into that right now? I know you have some news for us.
Yeah, we can do that now. It's kind of tied into what we're going to talk about with new content, which we'll announce here. We'll keep that on teaser so you guys keep paying attention to what we're talking about here. So yeah, there's going to be on PC, we're going to be releasing original versions of Volume 1 tables, and all tables that are coming in the future will be true to form, unaltered, so no censorship there. There will also be a family mode. So you're going to have two versions of the table now, based on what's best for you in your play situation.
So that means, or we're talking about unaltered, that means no art is changed, no game modes have changed, nothing has changed. Family mode will be basically kind of like what we are currently seeing with what was done in Volume 1.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, you're going to have pure versions of the table. All the artwork, VOs, DMDs, whatever's going on will be from the original true form. And then the family version, if you will, the edited version, is also available, and you can pick and choose which one you want to play. It's not like we're charging you one, money for one or the other. When you buy the game, you get both of those versions.
You're being sensitive to the audience, basically.
Exactly. We're giving you a choice, however you want to play, you can, and that's on PC. So you notice I'm not saying console or other platforms right now, because we still have it's a bigger situation on Steam. We're not affected by our rating, but this is us. We think that the majority of these players who want this version are on PC, and so this is our first attempt to say, all right, we heard you. Here you go. You now have a choice.
Great. I think that'll go over like gangbusters. Just the fact that, again, you've listened to the community, what's been being said out there, and it's one of those hard things to communicate where it's like you guys have a business aspect and how to run the company and deal with the licensors that you have, and as well as the customers, and it's trying to find that fine balance of how to please both.
There's a lot of conversations. It's not just a conversation with us and players or us and platform holder.
Yeah.
All of our licensors involved, all of the people who have played the game previously. And on Steam, it's much more flexible and open, and we're able to do things differently than on these more curated platforms on console side.
Right. Regarding and this is purely selfish reasons here, because I've started building what I'm calling the microcab. It's that thing that Jeremy Williams did for the VR. And coming up with button layouts, I'm trying to anticipate what you guys are going to be doing when it comes time for games that have MagnaSave, or some games like, for instance, the Shadow has the second set of flippers. Is that something where, like currently for Zen titles, when you have a MagnaSave on any of your Zen games, it's basically pushing the launch button again, and that's what activates that. But with Williams tables, sometimes it's directional, left or right side of the table that is going to be happening. Are you going to be implementing using the second shoulder button, basically, the trigger button or whatever on the controllers for that, or are you going to be sticking with the launch button being that kind of trigger?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think I have a definitive answer for you on that right now for a controller or for a keyboard. I can tell you on our pinball machines, our virtual cabinets that we're working on, we do have a second set of buttons just up from the flipper buttons on the side of the unit. So we've identified that that's a good place for the hands when you're playing like a traditional pinball. So for people who are playing arcades, that's likely how what we would recommend. But on the controller and the keyboard, I don't know exactly what we're doing just yet. I know that it's conversational still because our games do it a certain way and the Williams games do it a different way. What I like to do is give the player the option. So if we could, let you guys do your own button configuration.
Right, map it however we like.
Yeah, I think that would be the best solution. It's the most amount of work on our side. but in the long run, I think it's the least amount of work on our side, because then we don't lock players out if they want to do it differently, or then we don't create a situation here where people are unhappy. So
I'm actually adding a third button to the flipper side. That's going to be for activating the wizard bonus, because I don't want to have to reach up to the top. I would just want it right there at my finger to be able to do it and still do flippers. So I'm adding a third button for that purpose. But it's one of those things where it's like, when trying to figure this out, I'm like, God, how is that going to work? Because a lot of these pin cabs also don't have two buttons in there. So I'm like, oh, that's going to be different.
Yeah. These are the problems. These are the things, at the very end of the road where you discover, hey, what about this? And it needs to be sorted out. But once we get there, I'll definitely share that with you and let you know what's going on.
Okay. Okay, I'm dying to know. I don't even know what the upcoming tables are. So let's break that nut open right now. What are the upcoming tables for the Williams Volume 2 collection?
Drum roll. No. Okay, so for Volume 2, we're doing the Party Zone.
Okay.
We're doing Attack from Mars.
Uh-huh.
We're doing Black Rose.
Black Rose. There we go. So Bally machines.
Yes.
Brings up a question. Are we going to have a separate Bally tab, or is it all going to be under the Williams tab?
It's all going to be under the Williams tab.
Okay.
For now, we're going to, we want to, what's hard for us is like keeping that home screen clean. Getting, we have tabs with like just one table and it looks kind of empty. It's kind of a disappointment, I think. Sometimes we're like, cool, there's a whole tab and there's one thing there. It's like, what happened? So,
I don't know. I think we're still hoping out that there'll be maybe a Half-Life table for the Valve section, and I don't know what Walking Dead Volume 2. I don't know, but
or Skybound. I don't know.
Right.
Whatever happens there. But so they're going to be in that Williams tab.
Okay. With Party Zone, boy, that wasn't in any of the material beforehand that we were able to even fathom a guess on. And so I know that our forum loves to speculate, loves hints and guesses, and just they'll mine that to the ends of the world. So that's really a surprise. That was nothing, not even in any of the videos of in the museum there that was there. That's going to be fantastic for all of the plastics. You guys have shown, just I mentioned it before, with especially looking at Junkyard. the plastics that you guys have come up with for your clears are amazing. So that's going to really show that off with Party Zone.
Yeah, I think so. And again, we're at the very beginning of this, and we're working on people's favorite games. So
Yeah.
some of these here are like just favorites of our designers and our team and stuff. But yeah, Party Zone, it's got a ton of personality to it. The classic version is going to be amazing, and then the remaster, there's some cool stuff that obviously you'll see in assets that we're releasing today. We got Captain Czar there is like flying around on a rocket, and there's fireworks going off everywhere. It's really quite a party. So I think it's gonna go over real well.
That brings up something else that surprised me. People were very vocal about the dragon flying around in Medieval Madness because it was blocking their flippers, and I'm like, well, if you've ever played any of the Star Wars tables where the Millennium Falcon's flying around, this is all par for the course. It's just one little added trick to get around. Then the other thing was that the dragon tends to finish by the time your ball save is finished. So, hey, you lose a ball, no biggie. But so I imagine that the captain's going to be flying around much in the similar vein with in his rocket.
Yeah, that will be happening. Again, if you don't like the dragon flying around, hey man, just hit the button. It's gone. So you're playing there, and all of a sudden you hit multi-ball and dragons flying around. Like, just turn it off for that moment. It's cool.
And then Black Rose will be interesting too, because that one is really hard to translate from 3 dimensions into 2D. It's got, I don't know, I think it's just something about that middle rail dividing the table right down vertically that it throws you off. So that'll be interesting to see how you do that.
Yeah. And Black Rose is a 3D ship, so that's gonna be really cool. What you see what's going on there. And, we have a ball tracking compass, which is gonna be guiding, which is really cool. And the globe will be spinning, treasure chest, interactive cannon. So there's actually quite a bit going on there on the remastered version for this one.
Attack from Mars, I have to ask, how are you guys going to handle the strobe multi-ball?
Okay. Well, flying saucers. lots of action, lots of flying saucers. It's gonna be quite a time. Well, I'll just say you're gonna have to play it.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, you'll have a lot of fun.
Because that's going to be the one factor where what was I just playing? Oh, because we're doing we just had a tournament where we're playing ET, and obviously when it goes trick or treating mode, the whole table just goes dark, and I went, that's what I want for strobe multi-ball. So hopefully that's what. Once I get to play it all, that's what I'm going to go for first, is trying to get that mode going so I can find out what is in store for me.
Update just came. I might be able to get you into these. Well, I'll have to check that out afterward.
Yeah.
So
one of the suggestions that kind of came out in terms of the animations that you guys can go ahead and do with these tables in the fantasy version of it was incorporating whatever's going on the DMD and just putting that onto the table, essentially making it so you don't even have to look at the DMD. With Volume 2, did you guys go a little amp up the fantasy elements a little more after seeing people's reactions to Volume 1, or are you still not at that point yet in terms of your lead time?
Still not quite at that point. Volume 2 has been in production since before Volume 1 was released. So we've been working on this. We outlined what we wanted to do. I think Black Rose might be a step a little further. Some parts of what we're doing in Attack from Mars might be as well. But it's still not full-blown Zen craziness like that we can do. There's ideas for these that we crossed off and said, no, let's not do that. But I think we're going to inch our way forward as we keep getting validated that people like this and they like how much we're doing. If we didn't have the button, the option to just at a push of a button turn it off, we wouldn't do this. But that is there. So hey, if the dragon's blocking your view on Medieval Madness, just turn it off for a minute and then you turn it back on.
It's kind of giving you guys a little more freedom.
Yeah. And so I think that's where we're headed. I will say, Volume 3 we're in production as well right now. There's one table in particular. I think we might just go for it. We might just blow it out and just see see what the heck happens.
Do you guys take any inspiration off of the mods that people have done to their real tables? Me looking at Getaway, I was like, I've seen the donut shop, I've seen the mountain on somebody's table. So to me, that I kind of like. I wonder if that's one of those things that you guys have taken cues off of other people's mods.
The team may have. I'm not involved so much in the early design.
Mhm.
I get something that comes across my desk, and it says, "Hey, here's the table. Here's what we're going to plan to do to it." I have time. You know, my job is a little different, so I
Yeah.
have time to look at it and say, "Is this enough? Is it not enough? Is this fun? Is this exciting?" The guys know best. Like the designers know best. So I think maybe at some point it'd be cool for you to talk to either Deep or to Thomas or some of these guys who are actually doing this stuff and find out.
Yeah, that'd be
What
amazing.
from. They're much better suited to answer the question than I am. I just try to look at the general picture of what is the plan for this table, and is it going to work for both player groups? And now that we're now that we can offer original versions on Steam, I'm like definitely a big checkbox like off. Like, yeah, of course. And now it's just if they want to play the second version or not.
Yeah. I know my fantasy mod, just because I've never even seen it other than in photos, but if you guys ever got around to doing Johnny Mnemonic, somebody did a full Matrix conversion to that and just turned it into a Matrix table.
Yeah.
And I know that they were going to sell it as a kit, and they kind of got the cease and desist letter. But I was like, that's so awesome that somebody went to that length.
I'm hoping I get to like talk to William Gibson at some point, because I've read so many of that guy's books. Like it would just be awesome to like have a conversation with him. I don't even know how fully aware he is of the pinball game, but maybe one day that would be a dream come true for me anyway.
Fingers crossed that if you guys go that licensing route, that just becomes one of those. Oh man, I have to talk to him. I'm sorry.
One conversation with William Gibson for 10 minutes.
Let's talk a little bit about the physics. So you guys put it out there for the public beta and got just a ton of feedback, and I was amazed at how quickly Deep was able to actually implement some things and do changes. It seemed like every week we were getting a new build, and then it went on hiatus for the 2 weeks prior to the actual tables being released. And when it came out, it was changed yet again, basically incorporating everything that everybody had. It's a staggering amount that has gone in with that. Is he going to be having to do that now for each and every table that you guys go? I mean, custom physics wise, or do you feel like there's a baseline that's been reached now?
I don't know. I mean, I think we have a baseline for the way that Williams Pinball needs to play. Then there are some tweaks that need to happen for each game that we make, and we're committed. And we just realized that that's going to be the way it is. I think for the most part, people are happy. However, I know a situation that we're running into, and it's almost like we have to answer this question by question, no matter how much we write about it. People maybe don't read the history of what's going on. Pinball machines, depending on where you're playing and the age of the machine and the way it's been maintained, they're all going to play differently.
Yeah.
No two fishtails machines are going to play the same. The games that we have in our office are like they're almost in brand new condition. I would say that's the benchmark that we go for, is these games should play like a brand new game. And so we do have pieces that have been replaced, and we have parts that are new. And so our game, the way that they're playing Williams Pinball in a video game, we're modeling after how it plays in a new machine. Still, there's some things they play differently in some cases based on pitch of playfield, based on bumpers and where things are. So we have to make adjustments.
What else can we look forward to that's going to be changing within Volume 2?
We heard a lot of requests to turn off the cinematic cameras completely in Williams Table. So we're putting that option in as well.
It's like basically a toggle option in the options portion, kind of like turning on and off ball trails.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like that. So again, I believe that's for more even a more pure experience, no distractions. So that's there as well. I still feel like we're in the mode of just perfecting that baseline that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a really good way to put it. And it's getting the experience pure for everybody who wants it pure. We have other features that we were hoping to release with Volume 2, which would expand the FX to, give you even more things to do with your tables. Hopefully, once this all clears out, like all the updates and features and more things can really start to to flow faster with more content. So that's where we are with Volume 2. And just in case you're all wondering, Pack 2 is $9.99. And we're aiming for a December release. We're not exactly sure of our date. It could be December 4th or 11th. But right now we're in that where we're sorting that out with first parties. So you don't have to wait long. It's coming soon.
Awesome. I know one of the things that people have been asking about was within the custom tournaments, when turning with the Williams tables, you can select tournament mode. But what that hasn't affected is the flippers, the flipper angles. It still was using the steeper flipper angles. So basically all the tournament mode did was turn on tournament rules, but it didn't, and slope, but it didn't affect the actual flipper thing. Is that something that we can look to being addressed in the future too, or is that something you guys weren't even aware about?
Yeah, let me make a note of that because I don't know the status of that right now. But I will check in and get that.
I know people were going, wait, this is way too easy to trap a ball, but it's still steep as hell.
Yeah, I'll look into what's going on with that and see if that can't get fixed as well. That shouldn't be difficult to fix. Could happen kind of instantly, actually. So.
Ta-da, bingo. Another thing that, and I know we touched upon this last time, and I don't know if there's been any new discussions within Zen about this, but all those people that are coming over from Pinball Arcade and now sampling once again the older Zen tables, they've all gone, oh my god, I would kill to have these new physics put into, as an option. Has there been any more discussions about doing that sort of thing?
Yeah, we figured out how long it would take for us to do it. It's clear that it wouldn't be something that we could just do all at once. It would have to be phased in. It would have to go kind of content by content, pack by pack, so to speak. So it would, if we were going to do it all at once, it'd be a substantial investment, and it would delay content. It would delay more Williams tables from coming out and other things that we have in production. So we're trying to figure out how to phase it in. It is something that we plan to do. It's funny because, we released Williams and everything else, sales wise, everything else got a boost, right? That's just, we knew that would happen. But then I think that we'd see even more boost and people would actually, they want to play with these physics now. The new crowd, the TPA crowd, there's no question. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely on our list of things to do. It's just how quickly and where do we start and how long is it going to take?
Because it's not a situation where you can just flip the switch, because obviously those tables, there were some call it magic tricks going on to make the ball move in certain vicinities on some of your tables, and now trying to throw in these physics, it kind of changes up the geometry of everything, I would imagine.
Everything has changed.
Yeah.
Surface materials.
Oh, that's right, because you guys were doing different surface contact.
Yeah.
For slide on the ball. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's definitely not a push of a button kind of thing, or one line of code deployed and off it goes. It is table by table.
Okay, but there you go, folks. At least you know that they're actually taking it to heart and working on it.
We're flattered. We did something new that we hadn't done before, and everyone's like, "Hey, do this on all your tables." I mean, it's great.
That's fantastic too. Okay, so as you mentioned, Black Rose, Party Zone, Attack from Mars, $9.99 is going to be the price point for that. Coming in first half of December is kind of the target with going with that. That is, I don't know. I'm excited. That's all I can say. It's getting to play these in this new fashion. It's like, even though we've played them to death already, it's still exciting because I'm really looking forward to what you guys have in store with the fantasy elements. That's how I play all the tables now. I can't help it. I play them. If I throw them in the generic version, it's kind of one of those like, oh yeah, hey, yeah, that's what it looks like. No, show me the stuff. So I'm glad that you guys are then for Volume 3. Like you said, that there'll be one table that maybe just go unleashed. It'll be fun to see whether that happens.
Yeah, and this is part of our the reason why we're doing these tables is like bring them into just a bit more of a modern era. They're gonna have a whole new shelf life. Now that it's just hard because you can't go play these. Not everybody can just go down to their arcade and find a attack from Mars machine. But everybody has a phone. Everybody has a console or a PC. And let's reimagine these. You can play them in a pure form, but let's reimagine these, especially for people who never played them before, because look, we live in a very dynamic world. Static things just aren't so exciting anymore. I mean, you even see this on the manufacturing side with new games. They're somewhat video game like.
Yeah.
There's still the classic mechanical pieces, but the DMDs and all the interactive stuff going on. I think that this is where the world is now, and that's part of our mission is to like give these games new life. So I'm happy to hear that you're enjoying it.
Absolutely. No, it's been a blast. Okay, folks, we're going to do something here. We're going to wrap up the show, and then we're going to come back with a second part, maybe. So here's the deal. Make sure you go to our website. That is BlahCadePinball.com/episodes, and that's where you'll find show notes as well as past episodes and all manner of things of that nature. Be sure to go to redbubble.com and type in BlahCade as your search, and there you'll find all sorts of our new merchandise that we've been pimping out because that pays for us to be able to host this, which is kind of important. And then make sure you follow us on Twitter. The show is @BlahCade. I am @ShutYourTraps. Jared is @JaredMorgs.